today I'm going to show you how to make this really cute rose keychain. So to get started, we're going to need some green yarn and some red yarn. So depending on the hook that you are going to use will be dependent on the size of the yarn that we're using. So I tend to aim for a yarn size or a hook size that is slightly smaller than the yarn that we're using. I'm using a 4.5mm hook today. So for today's tutorial, we are going to create a slip knot and then we're going to chain 42 stitches. If you forget where you are, you can always count them. Once we have our 42 stitches, we're going to skip our first 5 chains. So not this one, but this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to put in a double crochet into here. So we're going to yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Then we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to put in another double crochet into the same stitch, and then we're going to chain 3 once more, and then we're going to put in another double crochet into that same stitch. We're going to chain 3 and put in another double crochet into that same stitch. So at this point you should have a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, chain 3. Then we're going to skip 2 chains and we're going to do a double crochet, chain 3, go into the same stitch and put in another double crochet. Then we're going to chain 3, go into the same stitch and put in another double crochet. Chain 3 and put in another double crochet. Okay, so this pattern should now start to form. Now skip 2 chains, yarn over, go into a loop, draw up a loop, and we're going to create a double crochet, chain 3, and then we're going to go into that same chain, so you can find it by just pulling apart. And we're going to put in a double crochet, chain 3, and put in another double crochet. Chain 3 and put in another double crochet. Once we have done that, we're just going to continue that pattern all the way down. So we skip 2, yarn over, go into our loop, yarn over again, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 3, yarn over into the same loop to create our double crochet, chain 3, Let me just give myself a little bit of yarn. 1, 2 and 3, and then we're going to go into the same loop and then chain 3, yarn over into the same loop, draw through 2, and then once you have 3, we're then going to skip 2, and we're just going to continue to do this all the way down. So remember when I said that this pattern was fantastic for newbies? So if you're just starting out, one of the reasons is it doesn't particularly matter too much if you've missed a stitch or you've skipped a stitch. This pretty much will work, just because it's a rose. It hasn't got to be perfect. If you look at roses in real life, they tend to be misshapen, not perfect, so it's absolutely fine for it to not be perfect. Or if you've accidentally done a different stitch, so if you've done a double stitch instead of a treble somewhere and you've just skipped, or you haven't slipped into the correct place, it won't matter too much. When you get to this point, what we're going to do is we're going to go round all our stitches and we're just going to put a double crochet into the very end of the stitch. So we're flipping our work to slip into our space. We want to leave a bit of a tail where we tie off. And I'm just going to pull that quite tightly. So once we get to here, we are just going to turn our work and find our first tail, and that will give us an indicator of where our rose should go. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to try and follow the pattern like so, and then we're just going to, you can conceal your tail in there, we're just going to wrap our petals for our rose around. So just keep twisting and turning as you go until you get a nice rose-like shape. Once we've laid that out, if I just find this part of my yarn and I get that as neat as I can, you'll see that we have formed a rose. Try and pinch that quite tightly, and then we're going to get a tapestry needle which we will thread with our long tail like so, and then we're going to find the end, and we're just going to find anywhere in the rose where we can join, pull our long tail through. Then we're going to try and find the centre if we can. Still holding your rose tightly because we don't want to let go at this point. Fan out your rose and push through the centre. Then at this point, what we're going to do is we're just going to create a few stitches in the centre just to hold it nice and tight and steady. If you find any of the petals are coming loose or coming away, you can just conceal your stitches through the bottom, but don't pull it too tight at this point back because you'll lose some of the fluffed petals. So just push them out a little bit. So once you think that your rose is nice and snug and secure and you've got it lined up how you want it, it may take a few stitches just to perfect it. Push through the centre and leave a little bit of a tail.